The media organization called NowThis recently released a segment on women running for president, and there were some concerns I have about this video, but I'll share those with you guys after we watch this portion of the segment. Take a look.
Senator Kamala Harris, she is facing questions about her heritage. Her mother is Indian, her father is Jamaican, but the senator says that she will always identify as a black woman.
Kamala's walking an even tighter tightrope than the rest of the women. She's a woman of color, she's a black woman running for president.
What do you say to people questioning the legitimacy of your blackness?
It's just not the same, let's follow her around the clock and see what she feels and thinks, in the same way that it is with a Beto or even a Biden.
What's a candidate known for climbing onto counters do to kick it up a notch? That's Beto O'Rourke climbing on top of a minivan.
He is on the cover of Vanity Fair saying, I want to be in it, man. I'm just born to be in it. To which every woman who's ever run for office said, quote, yeah.
This is not about bad men in media. What we're seeing instead is the men and women involved in this conversation are part of the same sexist structure that we all are.
There's these things that we're used to seeing, and I think that we need to just break out of what we think leadership looks like and what we think a president looks like.
We've never had a woman president, so we can't tell you what she looks like. It means that the criticism comes a lot faster, a lot quicker, the purity tests are a lot harder.
You have to admit, running for president as a man is so much more fun, right? Because as a woman, you have to bring extra homework, right? Elizabeth Warren calculated 2 cents on every dollar over 50 million. Kamala is breaking down the statistics on maternal mortality as it relates to race and class, but a dude can just come and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna wing it.
Look at 2018, when women all across the country ran, and they mostly won. So every time you get excited about seeing AOC or Ilhan Omar or any of your new favorites, think about what's possible in 2020.
Yeah, I really did not like this video considering who's currently running for president. So at this point, the only women that I would maybe advocate for would be Tulsi Gabbard and Elizabeth Warren. I would not want Kamala Harris as president. And I felt like NowThis was trying to suggest that we should really consider Kamala Harris as a serious candidate. But here's the thing. We absolutely should not, for 2 reasons. Number one, CNN is following her around. CNN is the #1 donor of Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris is getting tons of coverage over at CNN because they donated to her. And so like this whole thing about, oh, well, she's a black woman, so it's like really hard and everything. I would totally feel bad for her if she actually believed in policies that would be beneficial to American society. But it is very clear based off of her voting record, based off of her donors, that she wants to, gather money from big corporations. She wants to benefit the wealthy, and she does not want to reverse Trump tax cuts or Bush tax cuts. She has never talked about taxing the rich, period. She has never talked about really income inequality in general. And so for that reason alone, I don't like Kamala Harris. I'm okay not following her around because to me, based off of a policy, filter, I don't like her in that way. Now, Elizabeth Warren, she's great. She has a lot of great ideas. Don't get me wrong. I think she'd be a decent candidate. However, she supported the Syrian war. And so for that reason, get out of here. Like, that's a huge no. She's made a lot of political calculations that, in my view, are incredibly detrimental to her campaign. She focused so much on her Native American heritage that to me, I was like, okay, what are you doing? Well, why are you trying to play identity politics? And she's played identity politics for the fact that she's a woman. She exploits it all the time. She's always talking about how I'm a woman, so therefore I should be president. Yeah, I don't like that. I think in a sense that is sexist, as if, and I know everyone's going to be like, oh, Cody, you're such a sexist. How could you say something like this? You're attacking women. No, guys, what I'm trying to say is, in my view, the person that is in the position of political power doesn't matter. I don't care about their identity. I do not care about their identity whatsoever. If they're male, female, gay, straight, I don't care. What I care about are 3 things. What are their policy? What policies do they support? What is their voting record? And who are their donors? Those are the 3 things that I care about alone. If you start getting into identity, I'm like, I don't care anymore. If you start getting into their, personal life and how they had a kid and maybe they had an abortion or something. I don't care. All I care about is what is their voting history, what is their political platform, and who are their donors. And Kamala Harris has a terrible record. Elizabeth Warren has a decent record. Tulsi Gabbard's pretty good. Pretty good. I would love to see her on the debate stage. I would love to see her compete with Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang and all the other progressives out there. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to vote for her because she's a woman. Understand that I am going to be putting Tulsi Gabbard side by side with Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang, and I'm going to be analyzing what are the progressive policies. Are you actually going to follow through with what you're trying to, follow through with? Think about Bernie Sanders for a second. He's an old white guy. And all these women have this problem with that. Like, oh, he's a white guy. We can't put in another white guy. He's going to be implicitly sexist. No. Guys, you have to understand. The policies themselves impose systemic racism. Right now, we have systemic racism. Take a look at police officers. Are they just explicitly racist? Not really. They're trained poorly, and the way the system trains police officers is racist. And so policies can benefit that to reduce racism. So just because you put a black person, we had a black person, and look where we went. Like, everything about American society sucked from literally since Reagan. Obama did nothing good. And for those of you who said, well, he passed the Affordable Care Act. Yeah, because he didn't pass the Medicare for All Act. He didn't want that because he's bought out by the pharmaceutical industry. So actually what he did was really bad. He moved a step in the right direction, but only a very small step because that he wanted a policy that was explicitly racist. So understand that, yes, Affordable Care Act is racist because people of color have a harder time paying for medical bills. The socioeconomic status of the black community versus the white community, they're just totally different. And so for you to say, hey, take the black community and force them all onto health care, I don't care if they can't afford it. If they don't get health care, I'm going to tax them $5,000. That's racist. So you have a black guy as a president who's racist against black guys. So just because you're black doesn't make you good. Okay? The policies themselves determine how racist you are, in my view. So again, 3 things I care about. Political platform, what policies do you support? Look at your policy positions. Voting record, and your donors. So are you consistent? Are you just signing up to this thing? So consider Cory Booker. All of a sudden he wants Medicare for all. Yeah, no, he doesn't. Look at his voting history. He doesn't want Medicare for all. Absolutely not. So I throw Cory Booker out. Kamala Harris, kind of the same thing. I mean, not really. She doesn't care about taxing the rich because she's bought out by large donors, like, for example, CNN, Time Warner. So that's my view on this. I really didn't think that this video was productive in any way, shape, or form. If there was a candidate that you were suggesting, like Elizabeth Warren, like Tulsi Gabbard, and you said, hey, we should vote for her versus Bernie Sanders because they have the same political platform and they have the same voting history and they have the same, everything's pretty much the same. They're not taking big donors or whatever. And so let's have a woman instead of a man as a president. Then maybe, but you'll never get into that scenario. You always have 2 candidates, one of which is politically better. And so I'm never going to make a decision based off of identity politics. Don't ask me to.